and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast brought to you by Birmingham Live. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Claret and Blue podcast. We're live on YouTube and Facebook this morning, and today's show is going to be led by you, the live viewer or listener. So if you've got a question for any of us, a talking point you want us to discuss, put them in the comments. We've already got some coming through on YouTube already, so we'll get to those shortly. I've got no notes prepped in front of me. You'll be surprised to learn. Nothing going into this apart from some quick thoughts after the game. So wherever the viewers want to take us, Ash and Pat, that's where we'll go today. First, Ash, we'll start with you. How are you this morning?
Yeah, fine. Yeah, just a bit of a rubbish game yesterday, wasn't it? Really didn't show anything, to be honest with you. Got themselves back into it, and then seconds later, shooting themselves in the foot. So a bit of a sore one to take an international break. That momentum's been curtailed, hasn't it, after Old Trafford? And you're thinking the result yesterday would have been massive, wouldn't it? But it weren't to be. So they'll lick the wounds now and go into the next cluster of games. I think it's, Wolves, Arsenal, West Ham and Southampton next up. And got to get points on the board. You got Liam Bailey to come back. So lost to ponder, like I said, and we'll see where we are after that. But yeah, a bit of a bad day at the office yesterday, Dan.
I'm glad you didn't stutter after Wolves then, because I had no idea after Arsenal. Please remember who we've got next, because I thought I'm going to look so underprepared. Pat, you well?
Yeah, I'm fine. Not too disappointed after yesterday. Obviously, going into it just before the international break, it's not what you want. And if we had won, it probably would have, a real statement, really. But yeah, it's not a disaster. It just wasn't a good performance, was it?
If you had to sum up the game in a word, what would you go for? Put you both on the spot there.
Would be disappointing, I think, because expectations were so high, weren't they? And then that happens. Seems to always be the way.
Ash?
Rubbish.
Fair enough. I think the word in the comments so far seems to be frustrating, maybe like a missed opportunity. Let's go to some of these comments then. Where do we want to go first? This podcast, if you're watching live, will be a bit all over the place, I would imagine. I might be able to tidy it up in the edit. So let's go to Scott first. He says, hard to believe it was the same team that played. We struggled to string a pass together. What annoys me most is the set pieces. Seems like we forgot everything we've been getting right. Now, I know that you'd highlighted the set pieces before the game, Pat, and you were very confident. You and me, when we were talking on WhatsApp before the game, and completely shot ourselves in the foot with that. We'll come to you first then about those set pieces. What did you make of them? Because there's still signs of Villa trying to do things a little bit differently. But yeah, it was one of those days where nothing really came off.
Well, I've sat with my friends, and every time we got like a deep free kick or a throw in, I was going, here we go, watch this. And then wouldn't clear the first man, or just they'd deal with it easy. I think it was a lot like the entire performance, really. Nothing really clicked, and it just wasn't our day type thing. Set up wrong, but yeah, we didn't look that threatening from set pieces, and quite disappointing to see, to be honest.
What do you make of Ash?
The best set pieces for Villa yesterday were Matty Cash's long throws. I mean, the course, Mings and Concert all went up, causing a carnage in the Spurs box. And to be fair to Spurs, Romero and Dia, they dealt with it. Spurs defended quite well yesterday. They dealt with the long balls quite well. And Villa had no answer. So, yeah, I mean, remains to be seen now that the Smith fit the system, as it were, with players coming back, with less emphasis on set pieces, more emphasis on involving Ingses and Baileys a bit more and whatnot. So, yeah, set piece didn't come off yesterday, but they're not always going to come off, are they? So, back to the drawing board, and hopefully they come up with a couple more for Wolves.
I think the concern over the set pieces isn't particularly whether they come off in a particular game. It's just that it seems at the moment that's our only weapon in our arsenal. We're not creating much from open play. I've already seen someone mention XG in the comments, and I'm definitely coming to you, Pat, on that one. But that should be a kind of a trick up your sleeve to pull out as a bonus, shouldn't it? To get something out of nothing. It shouldn't be your only tactic. I'm not saying it's our only tactic, but it feels like if we can't create something from a set piece, we're not going to create anything from open play, and that's the concern, isn't it? Our play from open play just isn't gelling right.
Yeah, I mean, the goal yesterday was good, wasn't it? I mean, Ings dropped deep, padded the target. It was a well-worked goal, but other than that, there weren't nothing to shout about. The set pieces, Douglas Luiz's corner kicks yesterday were poor. Weren't beating the first man on several occasions, and that set the tone, really. I mean, the passing was great as well. I think passing percentage was 60s and 70s, not good enough. So they kept losing the ball. Set piece delivery wasn't good enough, and the only well-worked move they had was they scored from. So I'd like to see more of that, please. But yeah, they need to do it more often.
Let's talk about formation. Andrew Wells says formation change should have happened a lot earlier due to the wing backs being exposed constantly. That said, even Smith couldn't be blamed for the lack of quality from everyone. And that is a theme I think is going to come up in the comments so far, as people are already saying the usual things like Smith's taken us as far as he can and things like that. Again, I'm not going to go into it because I don't agree with it, but that's their opinion. That's fine. But it's not Dean Smith who can't put two passes together, is it? You know what I mean? Like it's on the pitch moments where we're falling apart at the moment. Tactically, whether it was right to stay with the three at the back, we'll come on to in a second. But you can't be blaming the manager for a lack of quality, can you?
No, it was. I think we average a pass accuracy of about 82%. Like Ash said, I think it was 70 odd across the whole team, and midfielders were in about 60s. I think with either Ramsey or Louise. But yeah, you can't really account for it. But tactically, I think I highlighted it before the game, and I think you might need to change it in this one. And it came to fruition, really. There's too much space for Son, and Mate Cash too far forward. There's too big of a gap between him and Konza, and Son just thrived.
Yeah, I had visions of Dean Smith sitting in front of the defence then when you mentioned Dean Smith playing them down. Imagine that. He'll have his shorts high up, loads of Vicks on. God, they never start playing, but yeah. Things need to change.
Is a fair criticism from Danny Barker says that Smith leaves it late to make changes. Is that fair? I mean, Archer coming on with a couple of minutes to go. I mean, we showed signs of attacking intent, don't we? Just after we equalised, I think Buendia came on, if I remember correctly. So that's a positive change.
Yep.
Then bring on a striker late in the game to try and push on and win it as well. It's not like our changes are there to make us more defensive, but with all due credit to Cameron Archer, what's he going to do with 5 minutes to go? Do you know what I mean?
It's one of those. I think if he had brought Marvellous Nakamba and held out for a draw and got a draw, he probably would have got criticism for that as well. So it's just you can't really win in some situations.
Spot on. Yeah, I spoke to a few people getting the train back and they said made the wrong sub. But what Pat says, I mean, he would have probably got criticised if Villa held out for a draw and didn't go for it in the end. So you're stuck between a hard and a rock play. So you've got to trust the manager's judgment on this one. He's made good changes in the past, and it's up to him at the end of the day. So, no qualms from me. He made a positive change, trying to win the game, and 100 seconds later, Spurs score. So you're chasing your tail, and that was it, wasn't it? So yeah, you can't really just pick apart change subs and whatnot. We're not managers, are we?
Yeah, that's we were talking about playing a football manager saving a few weeks time, so that'll prove that we're really not managers when we get sacked by Christmas. It's one of those things. It feels like Smith and the players can't really win after that result. If, like you said, if we'd have bought on Nakamba and we'd have seen out to get a point, maybe would be criticised for going too defensive. He makes creative changes and we lose the game, but it's not the sub's fault, is it? We conceded straight after scoring. That's classic Villa. You just shoot yourself in the foot and. What can you do once Son pops up and inspires Spurs to victory? It's an elite player, isn't it? In loads of space. That's the difference at the end of the day.
Exactly, it's going to
happen. Pat, you mentioned the amount of space that Son had and Matty Cash and how that was a kind of a result of the three at the back. It'd have been a very brave move, wouldn't it, by Smith to go four at the back before that game, because you don't change a winning formation when it works. But in hindsight. And maybe, like you said before the game, three at the back wasn't the right choice for Spurs.
It's just one of those things, I think. I think against Chelsea, I think Lukaku's first goal, he drifted into that bit of space just behind the fullback. Thrived there. I think Mason Greenwood got there a few times as well. And it just looked like if he did this, that Kane and Son, like, if they have the space to operate within, they're still world class. Like, they might not be in form, but they're still going to hurt you. And they did, to be honest. But he would have been brave, and he probably would have got criticised for that as well if he changed from a winning formation we lost. You can't account for world-class players. I think they're going to thrive in whatever formation they play against. But yeah, giving him that space is probably a bad idea. If Matty Cash is just a fullback that's not marauding forward, and he deals with maybe there's not as much space for Son to run into type thing. But it's one of those. It's not a disaster, and you can't blame him for not changing it, if you know what I mean.
What would you have done, Ash, if you were in charge?
I'm not then. It's up to Dean, isn't it? I'll throw an interesting point here. Dean Smith signed a new 4-year contract 2 years ago. End of this season, he's got 12 months left in his deal. So questions are starting to be asked. It's coming to that time again now. New contract time, is it? So we'll see. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, 12 months after this season, managers you tend to sign a new deal if you wanted, aren't you? So it's interesting, really. Coming to the end of his current contract, and it's up to him now to prove a point again, as he always has done. He's the man for the job. So, yeah, another cluster of games coming up. Again, Villa want to be above come May, before the next international break. Like you say, Arsenal, Wolves, Arsenal, West Ham, Southampton. So, yeah, let's get some results. I think from the start we've had, I'll give it a 7 out of 10 rating. It's been okay, decent start. 10 points from 7 games. We've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. Watford, the ugly, and whatnot. Tottenham yesterday wasn't very nice, and the good was beating Man U and Everton, and the first half against Chelsea. And there's been a bit of a mixed bag, isn't it? That point against Brentford now doesn't look too shabby either, given their form. So, yeah, I mean, summing up that Villa start, 7 out of 10 for me. I don't know what all the readers make of it, but it's been okay for me, Dan. We've got players coming back as well, so it's just fascinating now. I think John Taylor's done a piece on the website if you want to check it out. Dean Smith's £120 million headache he's got to fit everyone in. So, Buendia, it hasn't happened for him yet. He needs to play, and it's a big deal that was. Villa need to get him into the side. Leon Bailey, I think he starts every week. He fit. So, yeah, Dean Smith now he'll have to earn his corn now and try and build a new system to fit the players, to fit in the players Villa have.
There's a question. I mean, I'm just trying to find the question. Someone's talked to you about a plan B. So I says, why don't we have a plan B? Is this the manager or the players? I think we have got a plan B. It's 3 at the back, isn't it? And we've got, we've got 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 you can go to. So I think we have got more options this year. The one I was trying to look for was from Nomad. He says consistency is key, which is very true. It still feels as if we don't have our starting 11 yet. I don't know whether we ever will this season. I think we talked about it on a previous podcast about, is there such thing as a best 11 anymore? Do you have one set first team that you play and a couple of subs that you choose between, or is that too one dimensional? Then on the flip side of that, Ash, you just said Bailey's got to play every week, which I tend to agree with, but not in a 3-5-2 because he doesn't fit into that. So what do Villa do? What is their best 11? What's the best formation? To be 7 games in and not quite know the answer to that as a fan is slightly concerning, I think.
Well, yeah, it's above our pay grade, isn't it? He's paid big bucks to do that, to sort that out. So it'd be up to him to find his system with the players he's got. He's got talent in abundance. I mean, Bertrand Traore can't even get a kick of light. Players like that on the bench. And then we've got some outstanding youngsters. Carney, Jaden. What's their game time going to be like? So, yeah, we'll see. I think this period now after the international break's massive for Villa. 4 games before the next international break. I think they need to get at least 7 points again, kick on, and we'll see where we are. From now until the festive period, it's massive.
What is 10 points for every 7 games over the course of the season? Anyone, either of you good at maths?
I think we're on course to get 54, which is 1 or more or 1 less than last season.
Yeah. We're about par. It feels that way as well, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, I set up a little leagues table kind of document of how we did compared to opponents last season. So obviously 3 up on beating Man United for the first time, and then 3 down this week on losing to Spurs, and we won their away last year. So kind of a bit of a mix and match of what we were last season. What do you think of a best 11, Pat? You're the tactics guy. You've seen average positions and touches and stuff. What is it? 3 at the back? Is it 4 at the back? Is it wingers? Is it 2 up front? It's good to have options, but
yeah, it's one of those things that I don't think it's like a one size fits all for each team you play, which is why I was kind of like edging towards changing it in this game, because I don't think if you just play the same formation every single week, like you've seen it in our first season, it was just 4-3-3 every single week, and it's easy to stop. Like teams are going to be able to predict what you're going to do, how you're going to play, where you threaten from. So we now have the options to change up. So you can make the argument that you can't drop Hawes because of his goal and his performance. You can't drop Ings because he's a big money sign, he scores goals at this level, but you've got the options now where you can set up each game to go and beat that specific opponent. You can't use the same plan against every single team.
Yeah, I suppose we say it would have been brave for Smith to change to a 4 at the back. That's the big decisions you have to make, isn't it? If after Man United we beat them with 3 at the back, and then he goes against Spurs and all the analysis points to a 4 at the back, thinking, that's what we need to go with, and we beat Spurs, we wouldn't be saying it was a brave decision, would we? We were saying it was bold and correct in the end. To go there and play 3 at the back and be predictable and leave space for a world-class forward makes us look silly, doesn't it? So it's not a case of being brave. It's about being smart and making the most of the options that we've got. Because if we fall into the trap of, now we just play 3 at the back every game, that's not going to work either. We've got those options to change it. You're not going to be able to sign Buendia, Bailey, Ings, and have Traore on the bench as well and not play them. It's bizarre.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you would have thought he was mad yesterday if he changed the team, wouldn't you? Beating Man U.
Yeah, we lost anyway, keeping the same team, so we might as well change it.
Yeah, but it's hindsight, isn't it, really? Yeah. And like what Pat says in his piece today on the website, Son exploited the gaps, and Villa got a chance to pay for that. So, I mean, it's up to Dean Smith to get the best out of this team. That's the bottom line. Will he change it for Wolves? Probably. He's probably forced to do that given the display against Tottenham. So, we'll see.
What would you do against Spurs, Ash? Wolves, sorry.
It's tough, isn't it, really? I mean, I think you've got to find a place for Leon Bailey regardless. I think he will be fit for that game. I think I'd start him. I'll get the fans off the seats and try and go for him early. That Wolves will be dangerous, though. They're coming off the back of a good win. Jimenez back now as well. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Obviously, you've got the dynamic of Martinez flying in 30-odd hours after full time in Argentina. So, he'll be in goal again. I can't see Buendia. Well, Buendia's not part of the Argentina squad. So, will he come in? Loads of questions to ask then. I don't know. No one knows yet until the team shoots forward. But will he persist with straight at the back? That's the biggest question.
What do you do, Pat? I mean, we've still got another 10 days or so where we could get injuries and stuff yet, so I'm not going to be picking a team just yet, but I'd be tempted to go 4 at the back now.
I think, maybe 4-3-3. I think if Bailey's coming in, you've got to play 4-3-3, to be honest. Usual midfield, and then just drop Hawes, not because of his performance, just because you need to fit Bailey in. But yeah, packed out Villa Park, I think you need Bailey there to get everyone off the seats, like Ash said.
Ash, I just want to go back to what you mentioned about Smith then, because the comments coming in now about what you just said about his contract running out, and people hearing rumours of needing to have a good October or he'll get the sack and he needs a good run of results before the break to get in there, get a new contract and all that kind of stuff. And that will be the rumours that circulate until he signs a new deal, essentially. If that contract is going to run down, the question will be, do the owners not trust him and look to replace him? But, if results aren't there, then it is a conversation we had later down the line. I'll be very surprised if they don't renew it. Whether it's a big 4-year deal or not is another question. But as it stands as of today, yes, I know we just lost to Spurs yesterday, but that's not changing the manager territory for me.
No, it's not Watford, though. Chill out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's just a conversation. It's getting to that time now, isn't it? Obviously, you want your future sorted out. I think Dean will want it sorted out as well. I think conversation will probably start now. There'll probably be, depending on the form, there could be an announcement in the new year, perhaps. But managers don't tend to run the contracts down with just months left. So I think that'll be sorted out in the coming weeks and months. Like I said, it's getting to that time now. So, but yeah, like I said, I think Dean's done well this season. He's kicked on again. I think with the big sale in the summer as well, he's got a better squad to choose from. He's getting the best out of it. We've seen that at Old Trafford against Everton, and he hasn't had players. He hasn't had his fully fit squad to choose from yet. Obviously, we've had COVID issues, quarantine issues. Pre-season was really disruptive, and some injuries as well. Some unfortunate injuries. We've only seen Bailey for 80 minutes. That's the most frustrating part about the start for me. So, but yeah, I mean, if you're asking me for a good season based on what I've seen, I'd probably take 10th, 9th. Probably take that as it stands. It's probably been a bit too negative, perhaps, but I'd like to get us more points than last season, like you say, with your points document you've got. Get at least another 10 more points, and that's progression for me. So, yeah, we'll see. I've liked what I've seen from Villa so far. There's been some bad bits as well. Watford and Tottenham yesterday.
Yeah.
But other than that,
bad yesterday though, or was it just a case of wrong system has made Spurs look better? I'm not saying that's the stuff I've seen on social media makes Spurs look like absolute world beaters, and I don't agree with that. I don't think they were that good, and I also
Spurs are poor as well.
I don't think we were that bad. First 5 minutes, I know it's 5 minutes out of a 9-minute game. I was like, we look quite comfortable here. Like we're pinging passes around. Like, I think we're going to be all right. Yeah. And then after that, we barely get a sniff. And we do look pretty rubbish, but not like to the extent I've seen on the reaction on social media of getting rid of the manager and ripping up the whole system and starting again. It's one bad game. I think, to quote Dean Smith, never get too high with the highs and never get too low with the lows trope that always comes out. Maybe last week after Man United, we do get too carried away with a win. It's a big win, and we don't, we've never beat Man United, so we make the most of it. But if people are telling us to calm down after a win against Man United, maybe we should also be calming down after one defeat to Spurs as well. It's not the end of the world. You know, most people would still, I know there's all stuff with the European Super League and Spurs not being a super club, but most people would put Spurs in the top 7 or 8 of the Premier League, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
The neutral fans, top 6 even. And we've lost away there 2-1, and we've all come away feeling quite frustrated and disappointed with that, which is probably a measure of where Villa have come over the last couple of years, that we're disappointed with not going and beating Spurs away after we just beat Man United and beat Everton. 6 points out of those out of those 3 games there is probably more than people expected anyway. So, you know, the context of those 3 results, maybe yesterday wasn't brilliant, but it's by no means the end of the world for me.
No, not at all. I think just Son was the difference yesterday. World-class player in world-class form, and you gave him space. Bailey could have easily done the same thing, like just come on, torn people to shreds and won us the game out of nothing. I think a draw might have been a fair result at the end of it, but let me just let Son have too much space towards the end. But yeah, it's not too low on it, to be honest. It's not a disaster.
There's a question here from Richard Sharp, who's watching from down under. So hello, Richard. He's got 2 questions here, and we're going to talk about both anyway, so we'll use Richard's comment here. He says, feels like Ings and Watkins just haven't found their rhythm together yet, and Douglas Luiz confuses me. He's so good, but goes missing every now and again. I think the Man United and the Spurs games are the perfect example of Douglas Luiz. Absolutely brilliant last week, and nowhere near at it yesterday. And the stats you said for midfield pass completion back that up. Let's talk about Ings and Watkins first. There's a few comments and questions coming about them, whether they can play together and whether the system suits them. Somebody further on, I can't find it now, but said, you know, when we signed Ings, they were thinking, how does he fit into this Villa side? And 7 games later, I still think the same. So Ash, we'll come to you first. Proven goal scorer at this level, but does he fit into the system Villa have got at the moment?
Yeah, good points made by Richard there down under. My brother's in Darwin, Richard, so he's in the Northern Territory, thousands of miles away. But yeah, points made there. Danny Ings and Watkins, it's not clicking for me. At present, they're not syncing well. They're not passing to each other. The interplay is not very good. So yeah, I mean, Ings does cut a frustrating figure. He works hard for the team, but when he come off last week at Old Trafford, he was like, God, why me all the time? And he got hooked yesterday again. But yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? I mean, even Watkins has been a bit out of sorts, hasn't he? He's got his goal yesterday, but other than working hard, I haven't seen too much of him. I mean, he was wasteful at Old Trafford. He's the golden boy, isn't he? But for me, it hasn't been clicking for him this season. And they're still working on that partnership. I think it's 4 games old now. So very, very in its infancy. And I think Aaron Danks yesterday, he's got work to do to get the best out of that. So, yeah, the partnership isn't working as best as I thought it would. Well, Danny Ings' numbers are good, Dan. I mean, 2 goals, 2 assists from 7, but he hasn't scored in the last 5. So, I mean, Watkins he's off the mark. Great point Joanne makes there. I mean, you're hoping that, aren't you, Joanne? Ollie's off the mark, got the duck off his back now. He'll have a good camp with England, come back foreign, hopefully. Yeah, but the big chances seem to be falling to Watkins as opposed to Ings. I think you probably want it the other way around, giving Ings his predatory instinct in the box. So, yeah, for me, watching Ings live and seeing his demeanour, he's a bit frustrated at the moment. And I was hoping to get the best out of them pair, mates. I mean, if not, I think Ings could be the fall guy for your Baileys or your Traorés to come in. So, yeah, it's a bit of a predicament at the moment. But I asked Smith about this yesterday. He said, I've got no concerns. The link's up for the goal yesterday. I'm happy with the work rate. It's second to none. And he was just lamenting the final balls into them, which is fair comment. I mean, Ramsey should have slipped Cashy for the ball in the box. Cashy's overhit crosses for fun yesterday. So, yeah, the final ball into them hasn't been good. The service hasn't been too good. So, yeah, hopefully we'll build on that. Regarding Douglas Luiz, a player I really rate as well. He structured his stuff at Old Trafford last week. Yeah. Very good player, but like Richard says, goes missing now and again. When the tough gets going, as it were. I mean, he didn't have a good game at all yesterday. Douglas Luiz didn't get on the ball enough. I think the midfield yesterday was poor. McGinn was poor. Jacob Ramsey struggled. Yeah. And players on that bench, I mean, I've got too many options, have we really? Nakamba's the only one on the bench yesterday. Buendia come on, but get Morgan Sanson back. I'm sure he'll have a say. Expect him to be missing. Back. I know. Yeah, but I expect him to miss out on the Wolves game and probably be back after that against Arsenal, perhaps. But yeah, midfield. It's so funny, isn't it, Dan? I mean,
I know.
the other week, midfield was saying midfield's brilliant.
I was literally just thinking that. It's typical Villa, isn't it? We sit here last week and go, what were we talking about midfield being an issue for? Sort of
We need a DM now.
They've been brilliant this year. Now we're going, we need a big DM in there. That's all we need.
Let's go in the market in January again.
The big DM would have covered that space that Cash left and we'd have won yesterday. It's just typical Villa.
Funny, isn't it? It is funny, yeah. So, yeah, a bit of consistency. That's what we need to see. And Dean Smith tried it with the lineups. He's unchanged yesterday, but it didn't work yesterday. So, yeah, Villa's still finding their feet. That's how I'm feeling. Villa's still finding their feet.
The thing is with consistency, it's a bit like the conversation we had about Tyrone Mings a few weeks ago after he made that error, where people were saying if he was consistently brilliant, he wouldn't be playing for a team like Villa. He'd be in the top 4 somewhere. I kind of feel like the same way about Villa. If we're trying to get 57, 58 points and sneak into Europe, 7th place, 6th place potentially, are we going to be consistently brilliant every week? Because if we are consistently brilliant, we'd be winning the league, wouldn't we? I know that's a massive stretch, but we're going to have moments where we lose. And if it is going to be a case of 7 points out of 10 for the rest of the season, and that gets you to 55-ish, that's an average worked out. But you sneak a few more, we're probably on target for that. So I think not that we've been inconsistent even, but having these moments of where we think, it's not quite working. I think for Villa to finish 8th, that will happen. Because if we were better than that, we'd be flying, and that's not the case because we're not quite ready for that. So we're going to have these days. Is my point. I think we'll beat Everton and beat Man United, and then lose to Spurs and think, what the hell was that? But we'll beat Wolves and Arsenal, and then lose to West Ham and Southampton, and again that's 6 points from 12, and you think, that's all right.
Yeah, it's just the building of momentum in it. I think we all just get too carried away with it. It's like Brighton last year rings a bell. I think we've gone and won a few games, then played Brighton at home, and within minutes we set up in the wrong way. And Danny Welbeck slotted one in, I think, not Danny Ings. But yeah, you can't get too low on it, and it's fine.
There's a comment here from Neil. He says, "Why would we be happy with 8th? Because it's better than last year." Is my simple answer.
And the changes in summer, I think 10th, 9th, 8th, anything, I'd be fine with any of those. Could have been a lot worse.
As much as we don't want to keep talking about Grealish, you've lost your star man and you're settling a new side and a new formation at the moment that's played 7 games. And I think that's going to take time to bed in and form those partnerships like you mentioned with Watkins and Ings, Ash. Not seeing anything of Buendia really. Seeing 80 minutes of Bailey. Danny Ings, like you said, a couple of goals and a couple of assists, but not quite clicking really. So I don't expect Villa to go from that in the summer to finishing top 6 this season. I think that's a massive stretch to have assumed that would have been the case. And internally the target is getting to Europe as quick as possible. But if 8th and a bigger points total than last season is what we get, that's progress, and I would be happy with that. That's my personal opinion. And there's a couple of hundred people watching. What would you be happy with? Because everyone is different. People might think we need to get straight into Europe, and I agree. You're at risk of losing your best players if you're not offering that European football. But that's a marathon, not a sprint, isn't it? I don't think we're just going to make that leap up there.
No, that represents a three-place jump as well. Progression, isn't it? I mean, a good FA Cup run as well. Won't go amiss. So yeah, I mean, let's see where we're at. I think I said this yesterday. I don't know what Villa can achieve this season, given the indifferent form. We've seen the brilliance and the bad. So I think we're yet to see that consistency we're looking for. So until we see that, and that's when we'll know. So yeah, this next cluster of games are key for me to see where we're at. Have the squad back together, and then these teams you want to be around, isn't it? Your Arsenals, your West Hams, and people like that. Wolves, Southampton, want to be above them. So that'd be a good yardstick for me. After that, going into the November internationals, I think we'll have a better understanding what Villa can achieve this season.
To be fair, we had this exact same conversation before September. We said Everton, Chelsea, Man United, Spurs would be a good measure of where we are, and we've got 6 points from 12 there. Is that an accurate representation of a good month then? I'd have took 6 points, I think.
Yeah, it's half, isn't it? I mean, where are Villa in the table? 10th. So
yeah,
that's it. It's about par.
Anything else to add, Pat, before we pick another question?
The only thing I would say is people are probably thinking it's a good time for Villa to kick on, to be honest. I mean, you've got Arsenal in a rebuild. Leeds haven't hit the ground running. Everyone thought they'd be around it. West Ham, I think they've got a small squad and they're going to be in the Europa games, and they might fall off in the league. So it probably is a good time for Villa to take advantage. Leicester, they're not on form. I think Vardy might have gone down injured yesterday as well or something. I'm not sure. But it is just one of those things. Like, it would be nice for us to push on. It's not a disaster if we don't get Europe this season, but it is a chance for it, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
there's still
why
a
people might
chance.
get a bit frustrated. Yeah, it's not over.
This is not over yet. Do you know
That's
what I
why
mean?
people get so frustrated. I think their eyes are lighting up.
If we win the next 3, this conversation is a very different matter, isn't it? So you have to take each game as it comes to try out another Smith cliche. But we talked at the end of last season that 55 points finishes much higher than 11th in pretty much every season in the last 10, 12 years, I think the stat was. So if we do the same again, and we had an inconsistent season last year after the second half of the season absolutely fell apart, if we get 54, 56 points this season, we probably will finish 8th. And if that's improvement and people are happy with that and the owners are happy with that, and Smith's happy with that, and we push on in the next transfer window, then it's next season we're talking about a serious push for Europe, I think. If we get into it this season, I would class that as a massive bonus, because I don't think it's realistic just yet.
I'll throw a stat at you. Ready?
Go on.
Man City and Liverpool have won 1 game more than Villa.
Really?
It's simple, isn't it? So you know what I mean? They've won 4
what you're saying
games.
is we're going to finish 3rd?
No, I'm just saying.
We're in the title race.
It's still early days, isn't it? I mean, Villa have won 3 games. Man City and Liverpool won 4 games each. Everyone's still feeling each other out until Villa get the squad together and get on a run of form. I mean, it's still early to judge for me. So, yeah, I mean, Man City Liverpool won 1 game more than Villa so far.
Yeah.
Just mad, isn't it?
There's a couple of comments on league position I want to read out. I think it was Neil who said he disagrees with what I said, but thanks for answering. So fair enough, Neil. Everyone's opinion is different. But some of these are long and I've not read them, so hopefully there's no swearing in them. John Longstaff says if we finish higher than last season, that'll be an improvement. Anything else is a bonus. Alfie's Reef says 11th or better for me. It's about developing a stable team, not overachieving on season and then not the next. Which, yeah, that'd be fair. Graham says anything above 12 for me is classed as a good season. We've come up from the Championship and changed the whole squad. Blah blah blah. Yeah, not seeing many new signings due to injuries. So yeah, it's a bit of a, I don't want to say nothing season because I've been in the Championship, like finishing mid-table in the Premier League. I'm happy with that because it's progress and a step forward. But you know, if it's 9th and the season fizzles out and we're in neither cup competition, it's a forgettable season in many ways. But you know, if it's improvement and then next season you push on again, I think that's just where Villa are at the moment.
I think so, yeah. I'm with you there, Dan. I mean, the home form's been okay, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty decent down there this season. And then we got undone by a resurgent Spurs side yesterday, his son. So, yeah, I mean, I'm fine with the start we've had. Like I say, I'll give you a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Another thing is, like, with the losing players thing, like we've seen before what it's like to lose, like, Benteke and Delph, whatever it was, and then you see how bad it can go in a season after, like, big changes happen.
Yeah,
so to come in and then still be on course to get 10th, 9th, 8th, or European a push, it's really good in my eyes. Like, I'm very happy with that.
Also, the flip side of that is, as much as we're saying on the season over, we could still be on course for 55 points. We could also be on course for 35 points. The season could go disastrously from here on, but I don't think it will. Let's talk about this comment from The Face. He says, Smith does not take the cup seriously. What makes you think he'll win in the FA Cup when it comes round? I'll be happy with 10th if we attempted to win some silverware. I agree with that to a certain extent. Maybe not so the first part. We're just going to throw away the cup because I don't believe that. But yeah, if we did finish 10th and got to the semi-final of the FA Cup and we looked decent during that run, I think that would be a successful season. Yeah. I'd love to win a trophy, Ash. Yeah,
we had that opportunity taken away last season with the FA Cup with COVID. The youngsters play at Liverpool. So, and this season, it was just a rubbish cup draw, wasn't it? Stamford Bridge away. And we almost did it. Apart from penalty shootout, and they played well that night and they should have won. So hopefully the cup draw's kinder in January. And we've got the squad to do so. And that, for me, should be the carrot. I mean, FA Cup, love that. But I've got a rich tradition that as well. So I'll go all out to win that, 100%. Would I sacrifice, the league finish for that? Yes. I prefer to win that.
What league finish, though, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. To a certain extent, it really does. Depends how they fall, but I far the fall. But FA Cup win at the end of the season, you look back on that, it's got to be a positive, hasn't it? I'd go all out to win that for me.
What about you?
We were in a relegation battle and got to a final, so I think he does take it serious to an extent. He might rest players and swap it up a bit. Yeah, every team does, but yeah, I think he takes it seriously enough. And obviously, I've never seen us win anything like a major title or anything, so
Me either.
we're well happy with it.
You were still in nappies as well, weren't you? Actually, 96.
96. I was 5. So yeah, I was 5. I was a whippersnapper. So yeah. Well, since then, it's been a bit of misery, hasn't it? When the cup finals, Man U comes to mind. I was at Chelsea for the FA Cup one in 2000.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The final.
This one, I've got a photo of that. Hang on. There you go.
Oh, lovely. Let's get that full screen. Hang on a minute.
That's
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh, lovely hair you got there. Good skinhead.
Twin Towers with my Alder V Vans tracksuit. John Gregory. They're the days you look forward to, though, don't they, Dan? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
The Wembley appearances, as much as they've been poor results, they're things that you look for. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Trying to win a trophy. If you're not
Big
going to attempt
occasions.
to win it, well, what's the point of even competing in football? And as Taylor says here, FA Cup winner be another route into Europe, which is
There you go.
It's a great point. I think we will take it seriously this year. I think if it wasn't for COVID last year and the fact the season was a bit weird, I think we would have took it seriously last year as well.
Yes.
Some people might argue that Danny Ings and Watkins should have been on the bench for Chelsea this season and we just took the League Cup seriously, but let's forget that. It's another matter. Probably got another 5-10 minutes left if we want to get some more questions in. I think we've touched on most talking points, but we'll do a kind of quick fire Q&A now. There's a comment here from Richard Sharp, though, says, we're 7 games in. As Ash says, we are a win off the top boys at this stage. We've played Spurs, Man United, both away, Chelsea, Brentford and Everton so far, which is not the easiest run of games. To be fair, that's 5 out of the 7. That is a decent fixture list there. And it's 3, 4, 6 points out of those 5, I think. Beat Newcastle as well. And then obviously the Watford game, which is, again, I'm just going to keep saying it. I'll just write that off because it's been weird. I haven't made the season, then sacked the manager, so don't know what the hell's going on there. But yeah, I think give it another 4 or 5 games. That's when we'll see when Villa are, I think. Anything to add?
Sorry, mine's about for you.
No, I agree. Isn't there a good run at Christmas? Don't we have a good Christmas run, I think, as well?
Well, we must be due one, haven't we? Because those fixtures haven't been the easiest. We must be having a half decent run at some point.
I look on the fantasy football app and it's just like red next to all our fixtures. I'm like, where's all the green that comes in? Like,
how's your fantasy football going, by the way?
I had a good week this week. It was tough, but I got about 47 points. Fired myself up the league table.
Are you in our Claret and Blue one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I keep winning in that one as well. Doing all right.
Where are you? Do you know where you are? I'm just looking at mine now.
Charlotte now.
I'm 17th in ours. That's all right. That is for me. I've usually given up by this point. Ash, you're not a fantasy football player, are you?
I play every year, but I've retired now. It does me head in too much if I take a player out and score. So it's just too much stress. I don't need it.
I usually play 3 or 4 weeks, then I forget to change my team, and then I'll check it and realise 3 of them are injured or something. I'll just forget it. That's it for this year. I'm done.
I take it really seriously, so I'm having a hiatus. It's too much drama. Don't like it. So I'm having a year out.
I started I've got Villa.
I keep scrolling. I can't see your name anywhere.
But I've pieced through 3 games. I mean, I've got the momentum behind me now.
42nd. That's not good enough, is it? I think we got a prize. If people are watching, they're into fantasy football. I think you can still join. I don't really know enough about it. I captained Son this week. Felt a bit like I know. Felt a bit like a traitor, but
that's poor from you.
But what I thought is, with my luck, I thought I'd jinx him. If I captained Son, he probably won't even start. Is what I'm thinking. I didn't expect him to get 2 assists and man of the match, but yeah, good for my fantasy team.
Watkins,
it's your fault. It's all your fault, man.
I know. I'm sorry. There's a lot of comments coming in, but not many questions. So I think we'll probably call it a day there. We'll give it another couple of minutes of waffle, and we might get a question or 2. Philip Johnson says Brentford have been the surprise package in our start, but the others have been hard teams to play. 7 and 10 is not the start we had last year, but with all the injuries and disruptions, I'll take it. Mark Lambert says it's going to be another season of win 1, lose 1, I think, which, I think that's how it will go as well.
Yep.
End of the day, we lost to Spurs 2-1 with a poor performance. A previous poor performance would probably have had us with 3 or 4 or 5 goals against us. I'm confident that the team is getting better.
Yeah, but like that point, would have got slapped if we underperformed with previous squad. So, yeah, I'm on board with that.
And also, I don't want to hark too much about where we've come over the last few years, but if you compare the team that played against Spurs yesterday and the team that played there on the first game of our return to the Premier League, Ezri Konsa, Matt Target and Douglas Luiz all on the bench for that game.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about Dean Smith and whether he's not good enough and that kind of rubbish. he's developed the players that we've got to be better players. And we've talked about this before. Pretty much every player we've signed or who's still here, let's say, is a better player now than they were when Smith came 3 years ago. I think it's actually 3 years ago this month, isn't it? He came in October. So
it is, yeah, 3 years next week.
The progress we have made as a club, it is clear to see. But I don't want to become one of those fans that keeps going, oh well, we were in the Championship 4 years ago. So yeah, I understand we've come a long way, but like, it's a bit like when you say, "Oh, we beat Spurs last year, so we'll beat them again." It's like, yeah, but it's a different game. Like I know we were in the Championship 4 years ago, but we're not anymore. Like that point can only go on for so long that we're almost in administration. It's like, yeah, I know that, but that was a few years ago. Like we've come a long way since then. It's the improvement on months ago rather than years ago for me. And even then, I still agree that we're better than we were at the back end of last season. So I think we're heading in the right direction.
Yep.
It's just maybe a little bit of patience required and the acceptance that we're going to lose, a fair share of games here and there, and probably games that we deserve to win. If we lose to someone like Norwich and we have a real bad run, then the conversation will be very different. But I think for the most part, we'll be on course for a similar season to last season when we look back on it in May. I think
so as well. Yeah.
Final question, just because we haven't really mentioned him too much, from Scotty UK. He says, have you got any concerns with Buendia? Club record signing, not really played a great deal, and when he hasn't done a massive amount. Got that goal and talked about that little cameo he had against Man United, but besides that, not really done much. But again, with the caveat of everything that we've said so far, it's a new team for him, new players to get used to, new system, patience required again, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. We haven't been playing the formation that really started. We started a few games and they had 4-3-3, and he came in those and played against Newcastle and everything. But then we've swapped to a 3-5-2, and he hasn't been able to. He's been away with the international teams, quarantining and swapping to the 3-5-2. He can't get in there, to be honest. I thought when he started against Chelsea in the cup, he was okay. He didn't do a lot right, but what he could do right, he was pressing, putting tackles in, like snapping at heels. And then he had that bit of magic when he came on against United. Could have, if Ramsey slots that in, no one really doubts what he's up to, really. But yeah, and it was a tough game yesterday for him to come on. I feel like the midfield's poor anyway. Yeah. Yesterday's showing, and it's a hard game to grow into or do impact, and then literally straight away they score. So you can't really judge him on that. I think he will come good eventually, though.
Yeah, Smith said that last week as well. He came out publicly and said he was asked about his transfers. And he said, Buendia, it'll take time, but he'll come good. So we give him a vote of confidence. He'll have to do that anyway. But like I say, he struggled to make an impact for me. The opening day summed it up for me. Played in number 10 position, got bossed at Watford, and looked a bit lightweight at present. And then he come in against Brentford, played on the right-hand side, drifted in, had more space, and got his goal. And then he went to Argentina International, forced in quarantine, and it's been a bit of a stop-start for him, hasn't it? And struggling to find his feet. I think confidence is an issue with him at present. And he's struggling to get into the team. So, yeah, not working out yet for the £38 million buy. And yeah, I think he's got fans to win over. I think that's a fair comment. Fans aren't won over by him yet. So he's got it all to do. And you'd up to him to do that. And hopefully things gets the best out of him. So, yeah, not having him yet. But hopefully he's doing, like Pat says, he's doing other things right, defending, working hard for the team. You want to do the other things, don't you? We've seen glimpses of his goal against Brentford, but we want to see a bit more from him, given the outlay Villa spent on him and the trust Dean Smith clearly has in him. Yeah,
I think considering what we just said about Dean Smith making players better and people having to settle in, and people's first seasons compared to their second season, as much as we want Buendia to be good now, it's too early to judge him after 7 games when he's not been up to speed.
Yeah,
I'd almost say when you've got a record signing, judge what he's offered to the club in 2 or 3 seasons, to be honest, whether he's even still here by that point, whether we've shipped him off to somebody on loan like Wesley, previous club record signing, that we say that's not worked, or whether he's gone off to Arsenal for 85 million and we say, well, yeah, he's worked and we've made a big profit. So yeah, I'm not going to start judging him too much yet, but yeah, for the fans that are here for the here and now and the present time, we do need him to be better, and I think that will come.
Yeah.
Hopefully after the international break. Final one, I said we were going to finish, but one coming from Steve Tarp. It's a nice place to end. He said, next 6 games, Wolves at home, Arsenal away, West Ham at home, Southampton away, Brighton at home, and Palace away. How do you think we'll get on, and how many points won? There's 6 games there. Wolves and Arsenal, kind of in different seasons. West Ham, good again, like they were last year. Southampton a bit meh, and then Brighton have been played well, and then Palace have had a bit of a resurgence as well. So as much as they're easier fixtures than what we've had so far, I wouldn't say there's an easy game there. So come to you first, Pat. How many points do you reckon from those 6? I'll leave it up on screen so you can read through them.
I'm just adding it up now. I think we'll beat Wolves. I think that'll be a good atmosphere. Arsenal away, maybe a draw. West Ham, I think we'll beat them. And then
Bloody hell, steady on.
we'll beat West Ham. I think about 10 points from the 6 games. So like win one, lose one, etc. Like just above half for that. But yeah, it's a good gauge. Like Brighton are good. Like you see the Brighton fixture in previous seasons, maybe a winnable game, but they're like absolutely flying this season and well hard to beat. Palace, I watched them yesterday. They look quite good. Wolves finding form now. I think they're all going to be tough games. I think, but 10 points.
Ash, what about you? I reckon you're going to go lower than 10 points. We could play a little game higher or lower. I'm going to go lower.
13 points.
13 points.
13 points. I think we're going to beat Wolves, beat Arsenal. West Ham, I got Man City in the week in the cup. Prior to that, they might run and ragged. Villa will come on fresh for that one. Beat Southampton. I think we'll draw at Brighton. I think we might lose at Palace. I think we haven't got a good record at Palace, so that'd be my prediction. 13 points. Points there, isn't that to get? Winnable games there, Dan.
Tony Benson says they're all winnable. So let me just get this right. You've got Wolves, Arsenal, West Ham, and Southampton to win. You think Villa are going to win 4 games in a row?
I think, yeah, and then Dees with fresh contract to be out. He'll sign a new bumper deal, and then he'll be the Messiah. And then he'll lose away to Palace, and then we'll come on a podcast and thinking, is Dees Smith the right man?
I'll tell you what, that's probably not a bad start of what actually might happen. I'm going to go, there's far too much optimism on this podcast, so I'm going to go negative here. I think 9. I think beat Wolves, lose to Arsenal, lose to West Ham.
Lose to Arsenal? Come on.
Just don't. I don't know.
Dean Smith's never lost to Arteta. Can't beat Dean Smith.
All right, change my mind. Beat Arsenal. So that's 6. Lose to West Ham still.
West Ham have got Man City in the week.
I know. They'll rotate probably. And they'll put all
they've got a squad to rotate.
Lose to West Ham. Lose to Southampton.
Lose.
Draw Brighton. Beat Palace. So what's that? That's 10, I think. Ian Robertson said, no way we lose to Arsenal. What else
figures, even you're positive, Dan. Come on.
Yeah, Nathan Patterson says 18 points. Ian Robertson says 16 points. Tony Benson just says they're all winnable.
Put his knees back on. Come on.
Steve says I'm with you, Ash. 13. I mean, yeah, absolutely all for it. I mean, I'll tell you what. I'll clip this out. 47 minutes. We'll come back to this after that Palace game, and we'll see who the closest. I'm gonna go 9, Pat 10, Ash 13, and most of the comments think a full house. So we'll come back to the comments and mug you all off later down the line. But yeah, we'll call it a day there. It's been good fun, despite the defeat, to chat about Spurs with you both and look ahead to the next 6 fixtures where we win them all and win the league. Thanks for all the comments. You've kind of set the agenda for this episode. We've got nothing prepped, but we've managed to get 45 minutes of Villa chat out of the way. So thank you for sending your questions.
I'm heading to Burton tomorrow, Dan. Villa have got 21s going.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And Dean Smith said a couple of first-team players will play. And Cluster, I think Jed Steele probably plays. Probably Tuanzebe might get a knock tomorrow with some match minutes. Al Ghazi, Buendia, Ashley Young could feature, but I think he'll go with them. So you only play 2 over 21, so a couple of play tomorrow at Burton. The training ground's quite sparse this week.
There's quite a lot on internationals, isn't there, with the under-21s as well, I think. A couple of the guys gone to England, Ramsey and Jamaica, I think. Yeah,
it'd be quite quiet at Bodymore. I think it's 11 players that have gone away from the first team. So yeah, there'll be some games on tomorrow for a couple of them. But yeah, quite weak. And then all building up to Wolves next week. So yeah. Yeah,
well, we'll beat Wolves anyway. We've all agreed that. So let's just get that out of the way. We'll do a Wolves preview. Obviously, we're going to have a little bit of a break from current day podcast for a little bit. Our next proper episode will be a Wolves preview. We have got a kind of special with a kit designer, Rob Warner, who designed the Italy 2006 shirt when they won the World Cup. Worked for Puma and Umbro, I think it was. So I think he designed, or was part of the team that designed the Aguero moment goal, the Man City shirt that year. Everton Hummel 1 year, I think it was. No, Umbro, sorry. So we've got a special with him. He's a big Villa fan, so we got like 20 Villa shirts for him and kind of ranked and rated them the best and worst, and all the insight onto what makes a nice Villa shirt and the different sizes and the issues that come with Kappa and all these different things. So that'll be out this week, probably Thursday or Friday. And the next kind of proper live episode that we do will be previewing the Wolves game. So we'll have a little break, seeing our faces for a little bit. So, as I said, thank you very much for watching and setting the agenda this week. Thanks to you, Ash, for joining us. Pat, likewise. And we'll see you again in 10 days' time or so.
Yep, up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
Thank you for listening to Claret and Blue, an Aston Villa podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, then please do let us know. We love hearing your feedback. We'll be back soon with another episode. But until then, up the Villa.